There are 7 artists who together perfectly represent the 7 heavenly virtues, and I'll be going over them all, starting with humility. Humility is the quality of being humble, characterized by modest behavior, selflessness, and the giving of respect. An artist that's frequently seen expressing all of these traits is Post Malone. Post Malone is one of the most popular singers in the world, but he didn't let his success get to his head and remains down to earth, never viewing himself as more important than anyone else. He never hesitates to sign an autograph or take a picture with a fan, and is sure to thank them for supporting his music.
Boss, I want you to know that I really like your music.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
that means
definitely.
a lot to me.
Honestly.
He speaks to people using sir and ma'am, and introduces himself with his real name Austin, rather than the stage name people know him by.
My name's Austin. Nice to meet you.
Post Malone not only gives fans his time, but he's also given away many of his own belongings, like his shirt, shoes, and even his favorite guitar that costs $5,000.
So on tour, I brought my favorite guitars, and you need to promise me you're going to take care of it, okay? Okay? All right, you promise. You pinky promise. All right.
Speaking of guitars, Post Malone has also invited fans on stage who wanted to play guitar for him and allowed them to do so.
And he wanted to play a song, and I missed him. And I'm happy you came back tonight. Thank you for coming. Everybody give it up for Kanye tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go!
He's even done gender reveals for multiple couples at his shows who held up signs asking him to.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nash is getting a baby sister.
He also interacts with a lot of his fans' online posts, like in August 2022, when he responded to a girl's TikTok about her brother, who was a diehard fan and had suffered a brain hemorrhage. He sent the fan a load of merch, along with VIP tickets to his concert, where they linked up backstage. He once did a charity live stream event where he streamed for 7 to 9 hours on 4 different days, raising nearly $200,000 for 4 charities, adding on an additional $40,000 of his own dollars. There are a countless number of examples of Post Malone's humility, enough that people have made entire compilations of it. When asked what he credits his humbleness to, his dad was his first response.
Where you credit that to, your humbleness?
My dad is a great guy. I'll start there. And it's just like, I don't know, you never know, no matter what you do, somebody could be having the shittiest day, and then it just takes a second of your time to help out in any way you can. So I met a lot of dickheads in my life, and the golden rule is just don't be a dickhead. It's important to just be as kind as you can when you can, you know? Mm-hmm. I love people, you know?
Do. While Post Malone is someone well known for his humbleness, the next person on my list is well known for being the opposite of humble. But a virtue that does reflect them is diligence. Diligence is a virtue that describes an attitude of constant and earnest effort to achieve something, regardless of any distractions or pitfalls which may occur. An artist who has a long history of constantly working through different distractions and pitfalls is Kanye West. Kanye is a rapper who's been at the top of the game for 2 decades now, continuing through numerous events during his career that would have caused many others to give up and quit. Before he even made it as a rapper, he was only taken seriously for his producing skills and struggled to attain a record deal as a rapper. Multiple record companies denied or ignored him because he didn't portray the gangsta image that was prominent in mainstream hip-hop at the time. He was eventually signed by Rockefeller as a recording artist, but he was still viewed as a producer first and foremost, as his signing was done in fear of losing him as an in-house producer. Shortly after his signing with Rockefeller, Kanye was involved in a nearly fatal car crash that left his jaw completely shattered in 3 places. He had to undergo emergency surgery where a metal plate was put into his chin and his mouth was wired shut for over a month. Just 2 weeks after the crash, Kanye was already back recording, making his iconic song Through the Wire while his mouth was still wired shut, all while having to take numerous pain medications in between takes. Kanye later reflected on how serious his injuries were and how he literally had to learn how to pronounce certain words again. This of course didn't stop him though, as he would quickly become one of rap's biggest stars in the years following his crash. In 2007, tragedy would strike Kanye again with the passing of his mother Donda. As if that wasn't bad enough, a few months later, he and his fiancée Alexis Pfeiffer ended their engagement and long-term relationship, which had begun in 2002. Instead of using his pain as an excuse to quit, he channeled it into his music, creating the iconic 808s and Heartbreak album that brought emotional lyrics and autotune into the mainstream, inspiring countless other popular artists. Another time he channeled something negative into music was after his 2009 interruption of Taylor Swift's VMA speech, where he received backlash from just about everyone. He used the incident as motivation for his next album, planning to use music to become accepted again. Kanye exiled himself to Hawaii, where he booked 3 session rooms simultaneously for 24 hours a day to work on his album until he felt it was complete, never sleeping a full night there, opting instead to take power naps in a studio chair or couch in 90-minute intervals when working during the night. This crazy work ethic resulted in the album My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, which has been widely recognized as one of the greatest albums of all time. In 2019, Kanye dropped a Christian-themed album called Jesus is King, which perfectly fits the biblical definition of diligence, being the effort to do one's part while keeping faith and reliance in God. Kanye has continued to work on music and fashion through many other pitfalls, such as his divorce with Kim Kardashian, being dropped by brands like Adidas, and the many different times he's been canceled publicly. If you don't want to get canceled publicly for your bad odor, you should try using this video's sponsor, Scentbird. Scentbird is a fragrance subscription that lets you choose from countless designer colognes and perfumes without having to invest in a full, expensive bottle. They come in these cool colored vials with enough fragrance to last you 30 days each. This month, I received 4 scents, including Espiritu by House of Beau and You're So Money by Grooming Lounge. My favorite ones I've tried so far have to be Amage Reflection and Commodity Moss Plus. Amage Reflection has fresh, clean, and floral notes that give it a very masculine scent, while Commodity Moss Plus has a strong earthy scent with oak moss, rich woods, and patchouli, with the smell reminding me of my grandpa who was always out in nature. Those are just a couple of the many different scents Scentbird has to offer, and I recommend everyone to experiment with the different fragrances they have to find the one that suits you the best. There are over 700 different perfumes and colognes for you to choose from, including various unisex options. You get to pick a new set of fragrances to try out each month, and can also skip or cancel your subscription at any time, making it a hassle-free experience. Use my coupon code JUNEPLUG to get 55% off of your first month at Scentbird, making it just a little over $7 to smell so fresh and so clean. Available in the USA and Canada. Thank you to Scentbird for sponsoring this video and helping support the channel. The next artist on my list is actually someone that Kanye got canceled for being unkind to, and the virtue they're representing is kindness. Kindness is the quality of being friendly, generous, and considerate. An artist who has a reputation for showing kindness to others is Taylor Swift. Taylor is one of the most successful artists of all time, and yet she never let fame affect her positive personality. Her fans have nothing but good things to say about her when detailing their experiences of meeting her in person. Taylor's been known to go out of her way for her supporters, whether it's meeting fans after almost every concert free of charge, or making surprise appearances at fans' weddings, bridal showers, or engagement parties. There have also been times where fans have opened their front doors to find Taylor waiting outside, as well as times where she dropped in to cheer up patients at hospitals. Other than her time, she's also given money to fans in need of things like a service dog, cancer and COVID medical treatment, student loan relief, and rent dues. In 2011, Taylor came across a mother's blog about her son Ronan, who passed away at 3 due to neuroblastoma. She invited the mother to one of her shows where they met backstage, and she told her that she wrote a song about Ronan, putting together quotes from her blog. Taylor performed the song Ronan just a couple times in her career, once at the Stand Up to Cancer telethon, and a second time when Ronan's family went to her 1989 tour in 2015. All proceeds from the song were donated for charity causes to raise awareness of and fight against cancer. Taylor's philanthropy has led to her donating millions of dollars to various charities and causes. Taylor is also reportedly very kind to people she works with, like when she gave bonuses to her Eras Tour dancers, riggers, sound technicians, truck drivers, caterers, and other workers, totaling over $55 million. In an interview with Rolling Stone, her former tour manager David Beam said, "She's one of the most gracious, kind, and respectful people I've ever worked with," also stating that she always made sure that everyone on her team felt appreciated and valued. Her former publicist Paula Erickson, in an interview with The Guardian, stated, "She's a very kind and generous person. She's always been that way." Taylor was once quoted saying, "I always aspire to just be really nice to people, to be kind." While Taylor's kindness is generous and always being referenced, the next artist making an entrance is for the virtue of temperance. Temperance is defined as moderation or voluntary self-restraint. An artist who has expressed both moderation and voluntary self-restraint throughout their career is Tyler, the Creator. Tyler is a rapper and singer whose early music was very controversial, containing lyrics filled with slurs, racism, homophobia, and misogyny, with topics such as murder, cannibalism, illegal and many other criminal acts being reoccurring themes. As time went on though, Tyler moderated himself from focusing on these more shocking topics, developing through each record release towards a softer and more introspective sound. He also had similar moderation with his online persona as well, as he used to make some controversial tweets and visuals. Tyler's greatest example of voluntary self-restraint comes from his refusal to smoke or drink, which is an uncommon thing to see from people in the same field. When Tyler was young, he would always hang out at a skate park in his neighborhood, and he made friends with some extremely talented skaters there who he said were sort of role models to him. Tyler witnessed the skaters slowly, one by one, get into drugs and alcohol and begin to have trouble skating, leading a lot of them to quit. This experience is what led Tyler to make a promise to himself to never abuse substances, as he did not want the same outcome for himself. He wants to always be 100% in control of his mind. In a 2020 interview, Tyler explained how he's only been high twice in his life and didn't enjoy the experience either time, making him vow to never get high again. In the same interview, he also explained why his addictive personality is the reason he doesn't drink alcohol, even though he has the funds to supply it.
I have an addictive personality, like where I wear the same outfit for a month and a half type shit. So me being aware of that, if I ended up liking alcohol or some shit, it would be the downfall of me, because I would need it. And I'm in a financial place where I can enable it myself. And I don't ever want to be that guy. So I'm off it. I don't even look at it. Plus, I don't want to do it. It's just, nigga, you drunk? You stink.
Tyler sees substances as a distraction, so much so that while working with A$AP Rocky in the studio on the song Potato Salad, he, quote, went in the room and took the blunt out of somebody's hand, threw it on the ground and stepped on it and said, "This is a distraction. This needs to stop. We are here to work, not to hang out." An artist who was hanging out behind the scenes of many popular songs before becoming big as a vocalist is the one I have representing the virtue of patience. Patience is a person's ability to wait something out without complaining. An artist who patiently waited to be recognized as a solo artist is Pharrell Williams. Pharrell is an artist who's been extremely successful in the music industry for decades, but wasn't known for his own songs until later in his career. Most musicians nowadays start to gain recognition for their songs in their early 20s or even as a teen and reach their peak popularity not long after. Pharrell, on the other hand, started his own career as a vocalist much later than normal, and his biggest hit song didn't release until he was already 40. Pharrell began his career in music as a producer and songwriter, forming his first group, the Neptunes, while he was still in high school. The Neptunes group often competed at local talent shows and were later discovered by legendary producer Teddy Riley. In 1991, when Pharrell was 18, Teddy commissioned him to coin a verse for the up-and-coming rap group Rex and Effects for their debut single, Rump Shaker. Pharrell jumped at the opportunity, and the song ended up becoming a smash hit, earning Pharrell a gold record on his first credited body of work. Things wouldn't all come quickly from here though, as the Neptunes had very few song credits over the next few years. It wasn't until 1998 where they would start to gain real notoriety after the release of the songs Lookin' At Me and Super Thug they produced. Suddenly, every artist wanted a Neptunes beat, and by 2003, the group had produced numerous hit songs with big artists such as Jay-Z, Beyonce, Nelly, Britney Spears, Justin Timberlake, Snoop Dogg, Diddy, and Usher. An August 2003 survey cited by The Age found that the Neptunes produced almost 20% of songs on British radio at the time, with another survey in the US stating they produced 43% of radio songs. This success didn't translate to Pharrell's career as a vocalist though, as the band Nerd he formed dropped 2 albums by 2004, with neither having nearly as much success as the Neptunes' production work. Pharrell was also doing features on other artists' songs and started his solo music career, dropping his first single at 30 years old. His first solo album came in 2006 when he was 33. By this point, Pharrell was finally seeing success as a solo artist, but he was still years away from his peak popularity. His peak would come in 2014 at the age of 40 with the release of his song Happy, following his big features from the previous year on the songs Blurred Lines and Get Lucky, which went number 1 and number 2. Happy was such a big song that it went number 1 in 24 different countries and was the best-selling song of 2014 in the United States and the UK, making it the most successful song of 2014. Pharrell has since cemented himself as a household name being a solo artist, while also continuing his production, songwriting, and feature work for others. He proved that with enough hard work and patience, you can achieve whatever goal you put your mind to. The next artist on my list is the opposite of Pharrell and achieved global stardom as a vocalist at an extremely young age, and they'll be representing the virtue of charity. Charity is defined as the voluntary giving of help, typically in the form of money, to those in need. There's no artist who's been more charitable than that of Michael Jackson. MJ is a singer who needs no introduction, being one of the most famous people on the planet when he was alive. He used his fame and the wealth that came with it to give back to good causes and people in need. Michael began engaging in philanthropic and humanitarian efforts while still a member of the Jackson 5 group with his brothers, receiving early recognition by the time he was 13, having done multiple benefit concerts already. His philanthropic efforts expanded and grew substantially as he stepped out as a solo artist. Some of his earliest charitable ventures include donating books to a library, participating at fundraisers, supporting alcohol and drug abuse charities, and performing various benefit concerts with proceeds going to charity. On January 27, 1984, Michael suffered burns on the back of his head while filming a Pepsi commercial, but instead of suing Pepsi, he donated the whole $1.5 million he received in damages to establish the Michael Jackson Burn Center for Children. Also in 1984, he donated his entire share of the proceeds from his last full tour with the Jacksons to charity, estimated to be $3 to $5 million. This same year, Michael was welcomed at the White House by President Ronald Reagan for a ceremony to present him with the Presidential Humanitarian Award. This was just one of the many different awards and honors Michael would receive for his philanthropic and humanitarian efforts over his lifetime. His charitable work reached new heights in 1985 with the release of the charity single We Are the World that he co-wrote, which raised $63 million for the poor in the US and Africa. Humanitarianism later became a reoccurring theme in Michael's lyrics and public persona. His humanitarian efforts continued throughout the decades, with there being too many examples for me to go over without the video being over an hour long. In the year 2000 Guinness Book of World Records, Michael was listed for most charities supported by a pop star, having backed 39 charitable organizations through donations, sponsorships, and participation. By some estimates, he donated over $500 million to charity over the course of his life, but the actual amount may be even higher and isn't exactly known since he often donated anonymously. In addition, his humanitarian efforts were also reflected in his will, which provided for a portion of his estate to be used to benefit charitable efforts to help children around the world. Michael's charitable work has been described by the Chronicle Philanthropy as having paved the way for the current surge in celebrity philanthropy, and by the Los Angeles Times as having set the standard for generosity for other entertainers. An other entertainer is the artist I have next, representing the virtue of chastity. Chastity is the virtue of self-control in things sexual and sensual, also described as a willed and ongoing pattern of morally good behavior. An artist whose music is known for having good morals and a lack of sexual content is NF. NF is a rapper whose lyrical content is extremely different from those in the same field. While a lot of modern rap focuses on topics like money, crime, drugs, and sex, NF songs stray away from these subjects and instead focus on things like mental health, faith, family, and self-reflection. He's even acknowledged how his lyrics don't fit the mold of rap, like in his song Outcast, where he mentions his respect for women, and his song No, where he denounces rapping about side chicks. NF also doesn't curse in any of his music, unlike most other artists. He found his musical upbringing in Christian hip-hop, but doesn't label himself as a Christian rapper, but rather a rapper that is Christian.
I really feel like God kind of reached out to me through my music and was like, look, I've given you this, and taken things from your life, because music is what I went to. God just takes my problems in my life, puts it in my music, and that's what I do.
NF began dating Bridget Doremus in 2015, and they've been married since September 2018. He's written multiple songs about his wife and their relationship together. NF receives a lot of hate for his different style of music, but is loved by those who can relate to the experiences he raps about.
Because people come up to me after my show and say, hey, this happened to me too. And I like knowing that, that person felt compelled to say, hey, during your show, when you said this or said that, I'm going through that, and I can actually sit down and talk with them a little bit. The way I come about is just kind of a different style. I think everyone has their own lane, and my lane is just I'm pretty serious with my music, and I think a lot of people relate to it.
Thank you again to Scentbird for sponsoring this video. Check them out using the link at the top of the description, and use promo code JUNEPLUG for 55% off your first month.